I'm Sarah Harris, and welcome to a Fiddle Care Minute. Today we're going to talk about correctly placing a bridge on an instrument. So the bridge is what supports the strings and what transfers sound from the strings to the body of the instrument. So it's one of the most important parts of the instrument. And it's really easy for a bridge to get out of place for a couple of reasons. Sometimes it's just carelessness. A student will drop their case, or they'll have their instrument out and bump it into something, or drop it on the floor, or just in the process of restringing an instrument, the bridge can get out of place. So it's an important thing to know where the bridge should be on an instrument. So if you see one that needs a little bit of a help, you know what to do. So as far as bridge placement on the body of the instrument, what you're looking for is the inner notch of the F hole, and you want the foot of the bridge to be centered with that on both sides, which this one is. The next thing I'm going to make sure is that it's centered with the fingerboard, which is the part that's underneath the strings. So I'm going to look down the center of the fingerboard and make sure that there's equal amounts of bridge on either side of the fingerboard. And it does depend on your bridge. Some bridges do go past the width of a fingerboard, some are trimmed exactly with it, but the important thing is that there's equal amounts on both sides. Now, the next important thing is the angle of the bridge underneath the strings. You may have commonly heard that the bridge should be at 90 degrees. Yes and no. It's always wise to position the bridge ever so slightly toward the tailpiece, the bottom of the instrument, because string players, we know that usually when we have to tune our strings, they're flat, and by tuning up consistently with the pegs, you are pulling the bridge toward the fingerboard and toward the scroll and the pegs. So it's a great idea to start with a little bit of an angle on that in the opposite direction. That way it's going to lessen the chances of your bridge just flopping over every time you're trying to tune it to pitch. You've got a little bit of opposite pressure working in your favor. So one of the more common methods with violins, violas, we all do this. We put this down in our laps and we adjust this way, which works for the side-to-side placement as well before looking down the fingerboard, but also of the angle, and then always check it before you're done if you need to do it again. And that's fine. But I know a lot of us have been in that situation where we're just going to give it one more little push. We're almost there. And then all of a sudden that bridge flops right over. It's off the instrument and we're starting all over again. So I just wanted to give you another method to consider trying with violins, violas. You can have the instrument in your lap like so and place a thumb on either side of the bridge, right on the heart of the bridge. This can give you a little bit more control because you're putting opposite pressure at the center of the bridge instead of just the edges. So just by applying a little bit, you can hear the creaking a little. And all I'm doing is wiggling my thumbs back and forth a tiny little bit, but that could be just the tiny amount that I needed to move that bridge, and I have a good amount of control without it having to flop over and starting all over again.